Can you just quickly tell me what all are the real steps or the strategies where the organization should follow to create, to make sure that the people should feel inclusive
Correct. So,
for
maybe,
any community?
correct. So, I will give you an answer from a broader perspective, not just corporate
Yeah,
sector, not just employment sector, but even let's say education sector or
yeah,
any other sector. So, I would say forming ERGs definitely helps.
okay.
ERGs is basically employee resource groups. So, now understand here, forming ERGs is not to divide the workforce or divide people, no. ERGs help to understand what are the gaps.
Okay.
ERGs help to kind of analyze those gaps and come up with ideas which can be implemented, adopted to address those gaps. So basically, ERGs continuously work towards creating a more equitable and inclusive environment
Okay.
in any setup. And that is why having ERGs really help, because ERGs keep you focused. ERGs give you intent, clear goals, and that is how then it drives towards equity and inclusion beyond
Okay.
diversity. But at the same time, ERGs also carry a risk. I mean, like I said, like for example, there could be an ERG for disabled individuals.
Before that, I want to know more about ERG. What is that? What is it all about?
So, ERG, the full form, as I said, Employee Resource Group, is basically um, an organization within an organization
Oh.
with a clearly defined goals. So, for example, if there is an ERG which works for LGBTI plus individuals, so basically that ERG's goal will be to create an equitable environment, a supportive environment for the LGBTI plus individuals to thrive in that setup.
Okay.
And that is how then these ERGs, let's say if we talk about corporate, this ERG can influence talent acquisition team, HR, to tap in the LGBTI plus talent. These ERGs can influence hiring managers to hire LGBTI plus talent. These ERGs can influence HRTA to create an equitable framework, policies, environment.
Okay.
So, this is how ERGs work.
Okay.
But then ERGs also have that risk of compartmentalization, and that is where an effective measure is intersectionality.
Okay.
So, there has to be initiatives which cross across ERGs.
All right.
That is how then you don't compartmentalize everybody. I mean, yes, there is a clearly defined goal, but at the same time you are intersecting. For example, let's say, during Pride event, a person from the disability network comes over, speaks about it, or let's say during a tech fest, somebody from Pride network goes and talk about it. So that is how this intersectionality ensures we are breaking the compartmentalization and trying to make it mainstream, and that is where conscious efforts are required.
Wow.
And I would definitely say this is one of the improvement areas, especially in corporate.
Yeah.
Because like we said, disability is diversity is about that tick.
Yeah.
So that is where to show, oh, we have formed ERGs now, we have ERGs in the organization. Okay, done. But then those ERGs are literally dividing people, dividing workforce. That is not what the intent is. So, like if you see, I dream of a world where, let's say, a person sitting next to me says, I'm gay, and my reaction will be okay. But that's not the world we live in today.
True.
We for example, positive factor, we celebrate it. Actually, we don't have to celebrate it. We need to normalize it.
Yeah, that's more important.
So, normalization should be the goal, and that will happen gradually. I am not saying we are not making progress. We are. It's a journey.
I read a very good line about inclusion is not having share everything, it's being able to share everything.
Correct.
So I think that's a beautiful line which I read about the inclusion, and what I feel Yeah, yeah.
That's a very important point, because what is happening if you see at corporate, because now you are formed ERGs, you want to have numbers, so now you are pushing people to come out at the workplace.
To meeting
It's
those targets.
counterfeiting your intent, right?
Got it.
Just because now you want to show XYZ ERG is successful because these many employees have come out at the workplace. No, it's wrong. That is not why you are here for.
Right.
You are just here so that if somebody want to come out, they should feel safe.
Yeah.
They should not have a fear that I'll be fired. But doesn't mean now come out, come out, come out. That's not why ERG is for.
So basically, ERG, the core objective, which I understood from your conversation, our conversation is, it's a organization between the internal stakeholders, the diversified team, the synchronization create a different kind of a people in the organization. So the inclusion is the main core objective of ERGs, no?
So, like I said, ERG is a sub-organization within
Of
the
the
organization.
organization, yeah.
The intent is equity and inclusion.
Okay. So
Creating a more equitable environment so that the overall set of framework is an enabler for this diverse candidate to survive and thrive. That is the intent of the ERG.
And I read one case study where some transgender being hired to an organization. She said, I don't want that people should behave differently in front of me.
Correct.
You know, that I want to normalize this kind of a culture. So I think these kind of community, these kind of sub-organizations can help.
Correct, absolutely.
So that is behavioral change that will not change over the night.
But then having said that, ERGs cannot continuously focus on that also, because the onus lies on the individuals too. As in, how can individuals constantly put the onus on ERG or on the organization?
Okay.
The employee, that individual employee also need to change, right?
Of course.
Unless that employee rise above their own prejudices, biases, the overall organization can be extremely supportive, but this person is extremely horrible towards their own team.
So first of all, we have to sensitize them.
And beyond sensitization, we need to also punish them if they are not changing their, mending their ways. That is where zero tolerance for intolerance comes into picture.
Okay.
So, for example, you have ERGs in place, you have all the policies, posh and everything is in place, but then still you see an individual who is not mending their ways. Unless then you punish that individual, you will not set the right example.
Right.
That is why these steps are extremely important.
True. Creating, normalizing things for different thing for different people, I think is the most difficult.
See, that is what we are saying is, the organization, the setup needs to be an enabler for every individual. This is what equity is all about. For example, a cisgender woman goes through pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay. Delivery. A cisgender man is going through it? No. Now, unless you have maternity leaves policies in place, you won't be able to have a cisgender woman at the workplace, right?
True.
Right? Similarly, let's say when you want a trans person working at you, trans woman want to work at your place, unless you have, let's say, gender affirmation surgery coverage, you're not being equal.
Right.
You're being biased. You're being favorable to certain employees and not to all employees. And that is why then when you say we are inclusive for all, you need to reflect on everybody. All includes everybody.
Yes.
So if you are rolling out certain policies for certain section, why there are no policies for the other section? Why are you ignoring them, right?
Right.
So for example, when we talk about employee, VOE, Voice of Employee Surveys. So if you go blindly by VOE outcomes, who is casting the vote? Majority of heteronormative population, which is still in humongous numbers in at the workplace. There will be hardly one person who will say in the comment section, because I doubt there will be a question, in the comment section that I need a separate prayer room because I need to pray on Fridays. I need to pray. Somebody might say there is no, I struggle to take the lift because the buttons at not, I can't press the button or something like that. They don't align. So there will be very few individuals who vocalize these aspects.
Right.
So the votes to that particular suggestion will be very less. And then you will ignore it. You will only go by the populous voting, which will be around the typical thing. We need to have more team parties. We need to have rangolis on Diwali. We need to have, celebrations on festivals. These are the typical populous recommendations which will be considered.
Right.
That is why this is where ERGs also come into picture.
Right.
ERGs can nudge. Don't go by the popular suggestions. Think also on the not popular suggestions too.
It's quite interesting. Wow. Do you feel we need to change certain hiring processes in the organization to create diversity and inclusion in place?
Yes. How, like for example, again, this is my own lived experience. If I put a job requisition, let's say on LinkedIn for my team, the first 100 profile that will hit my inbox will be of cisgender men.
Right.
Okay. Because they are there always keen on opportunities, looking for change. That is why the first 100 resumes will be of cisgender men. And then if I just go by that, I will have team of all cisgender men.
Right.
What I need to do then in that case, I need to invest extra efforts, extra time. I need to analyze which all platforms that are available for me, with whom I can partner with to seek resumes which are beyond cisgender men, which are organically, naturally just hitting my inboxes.
Yeah.
Are there any ERGs in the organization which are encouraging diversity hiring? Any TAs who are working on that? Can I partner with them? Can I partner with some external entity? Can I tap in that repository of resumes, and then can I screen those candidates? Can I invest more efforts? Similarly, then when screening is happening, do I have a diverse panel in place? Otherwise, those biases can kick in.
Correct.
And that is why to question that bias, that is why to have a very neutral interview process, do I have a diverse panel in place? And other thing is, senior leaders talking about inclusive hiring during their conversations. Because otherwise the debate becomes, my skill set is very niche skill set and it is extremely difficult to get a diverse talent on that, which is a very normal justification factor. That is where senior leaders need to question it. What efforts have you taken? Show me. Right? When you are claiming that the talent is not available, I would like to see the efforts that you have taken.
True.
Justify your claim.
Right.
So things like these definitely matter.
Wow. I would like to understand from you, as you said, leadership role plays a very important role over here. So how do you see today's leader and the future leader?
Okay. So, see, we live in authentic times, okay? That is where even today and tomorrow also now, we need authentic leaders, because we will have authentic individuals, authentic workforce, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, who are ready to embrace their authenticity. It could be around anything, and that is why we need leaders who are comfortable around this authenticity, who are capable enough to leverage this authenticity for innovation, to align with the organization goals. That is why conventional way of leadership, which may be written in the books, need to be updated, need to be augmented to navigate around this authenticity. I mean, let's say you have a leader who thinks an effeminate man cannot be a good manager. No. You might be surrounded by 10 effeminate men today at the workplace. Right? This is what today and tomorrow's leaders need to have. I mean, having lived experiences would definitely help. But if not lived experience, at least have that intent, at least have that appetite to learn, to understand this authenticity, to navigate through this authenticity, and also the other challenge that tomorrow's leaders will definitely face is around ADHD, wherein we live in times where instant gratification is matters, where number of likes matter, number of likes decide how much potential that person has, and that is where then that leader has the capability to go beyond this, to scratch this and try to understand the real potential of the person. You won't be able to tap in the correct talent.
Correct.
If you completely rely on the number of likes, the number of views and that kind of a scenario, things are going to be tough. So you need to go beyond that. And similarly, the attention span, right?
Nice.
Because of the social media platforms that are there, the attention span has significantly reduced.
Wow.
So you have now, especially the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whose attention span is very less. So what can you do to ensure these individuals are engaged and leveraged to meet the organization goals? So these are the new skill sets that are required for the future leaders to develop.
Correct. So would you like to give any advice for your younger self?
For my own younger self, so first thing, of course, I think because of my surrounding, I was too harsh on my own self. So I wish somebody would have told me back then, it is okay not to be okay.
Wow.
In fact, this term itself didn't exist back then. So I wish somebody would have told me that it is fine. I mean, so that is one. Second is, like I said, the low self-esteem factor, which is, of course, the childhood trauma has something which has led to this. Again, I wish I had somebody in my life who would have helped me understand, what is going on around me and help me still keep my self-esteem intact. Then apart from that, I think, yes, of course, I have been blessed with amazing parents who were supportive, who believed in my potential. And yes, one of the, but my own struggles are also responsible for not having friends, especially during school time, because I chose the option of getting into a bubble to maintain my own peace and sanity.
Right.
So I wouldn't really say that the surrounding was more responsible, it was equal responsibility. The surrounding inflicted things on me for me being different, but at the same time, I also gotten into my own shell. So I had somebody who had held my hand and helped me break this bubble and make things a little more normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I think this discussion was very, very useful especially for those organizations who's really seeking for diversity and inclusion. So मुझे लगता है मैंने बहुत सारी trainings and as I said I'm certified post trainer and diversity inclusion. But today's discussion really felt me speechless about the real definition of diversity and the conscious efforts which is required by the corporates to to create inclusion, which is more important. So what I feel, this will be very, very useful for the audience, and I would say thank you so much for being here and spending time on HR Scoop with us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks
Thank you.
a lot. It was really amazing.